My name is Abby Johnson. I worked and ran a Planned Parenthood facility. I was there for 8 years, from 2001 to 2009. I went to college just really ignorant and uninformed about the pro-life or pro-choice debates. Met a woman with Planned Parenthood. She started giving me all of their talking points, which made sense to my very naive mind. Got involved believing I was helping women. Bought the tagline of wanting abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. We had abortion quotas, a certain number of abortions that we had to sell. I was awarded Planned Parenthood's Employee of the Year award, and it wasn't because I was, the best at remembering people's birthdays or because I was the one who was always bringing cookies to the office or anything. It was because I was their best salesperson. I think that last year at Planned Parenthood, things started to change for me. I became a believer in the Lord when I was 8 years old. And I do believe that once you are a child of God, that He will relentlessly pursue you. And He was hunting me down even when I was working inside of that abortion facility. I believe that He had been presenting me with some very hard truths that last year. I was called in to assist in an ultrasound-guided abortion procedure, and I am not a medical professional. I'm a therapist by education. I was an administrator. It's not uncommon for people without medical credentials to participate in medical procedures at Planned Parenthood. You just really have to be a warm body and willing, and they will put you in the room. I had never been a part of an abortion in this way. At our facility, we did not perform ultrasound-guided abortions. We did perform an ultrasound before the abortion, but that was only to obtain the gestational age of the baby so that we knew how much to charge the woman for the abortion. And then the ultrasound was rolled away and we didn't use it again, but we had a visiting physician in that day, and he thought it would be a learning experience to show us what was actually happening in the womb during an abortion. And so I was called in, and my job was to hold the ultrasound probe in place during the abortion. And we did the ultrasound, and the baby was 13 weeks along. I remember looking at the ultrasound and seeing this fully formed baby on the screen, but really trying to reassure myself that even though what I was looking at, it had human characteristics and it really looked like a baby, I was really trying to convince myself that it wasn't, because pro-abortion science tells us that a pregnancy that is unwanted is just tissue. A pregnancy that is wanted is a baby. And this pregnancy was unwanted. So even though it looked like a baby, even though it had arms and legs, it just was tissue. It was waste. It was something to be discarded. As I was trying to make that make sense in my head, I saw the suction cannula. The suction was not yet turned on. I saw that on the ultrasound screen, and I saw that getting closer and closer to the side of the baby. And when it finally touched his side, the baby jumped. It was like he had been asleep, and he was now awake and bothered, and he was flailing his arms and legs as if he was trying to move away from that instrument, but there was nowhere for him to go. When the doctor had everything in the right position, he asked the technician to turn on the suction machine, and he said, "Beam me up, Scotty." And the suction was turned on, and I watched as this tiny little body just was torn to pieces by the strength of the suction machine. And I felt very numb. And I realized, walking away from that, I had not just witnessed healthcare. Healthcare is meant to heal, and there had been no healing involved in what I had just witnessed. We kept using the phrase reproductive justice when we talked about abortion, but there was no justice there. There was no justice for the child, certainly, but there was no justice for the mother. We didn't give her an opportunity to see her baby. We didn't tell her what was going to happen. We didn't give her informed consent. That's not justice. That's manipulation. I knew that what I had witnessed was the intentional, it was the deliberate killing of an innocent human being. And we have a word for that in our society, and it's murder. And I knew that is what I had witnessed that day, and I knew that that's what I was guilty of. And I just thought, I cannot ever participate in this again. And so I left.